At Lincoln Nutrition and Fitness, home of CrossFit Lincoln, our passion is positively impacting and changing lives by creating a strong, brave, healthy community through coaching and education. We talk about nutrition, fitness, mindset, and more. From the Row Flicks studio, it's Phil Kniep, Paul Konarski, Emily Breedy, and I'm Aaron Perkypile. Welcome to CrossFit Lincoln Connection. Thanks everybody for joining us for CrossFit Lincoln Connections. I'm Aaron Perkypile. If you haven't already subscribed to our podcast on Apple or Spotify, you can check us out on YouTube. I'm excited to welcome Sarah Peter and Angela Moran-Manzitto in studio today to talk about their business, Clean Juice, here in Lincoln. And they also have a location in Omaha, downtown Omaha, and they're working on getting their West Omaha location put together. Welcome. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, Aaron. We're super excited to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I want to get a backstory for both of you. What have you done in your lives before opening Clean Juice?
Sarah, you want to go first since yours is a little bit more impressive?
Let me just get it over with because it's going to make me nervous if I wait.
Okay, do it.
Prior to Clean Juice and moving to Nebraska, here we go. I could feel it.
You're good. You got this.
Sorry, I've spent my entire life working behind camera. I was a former reality TV director, and I was with MTV for 15 years, if not more, working on a lot of the top shows that were big when reality kind of just kicked in. Just went fast. I was in the right place at the right time. Started as an intern, worked my way up, lived in New York, have an Emmy. Like, woohoo, no big deal, right?
Yeah.
It's a super cool deal.
You really should have brought the Emmy to sit there to distract from anything else.
I have held her Emmy.
Have you?
I did, yes, and had a picture taken with it.
Have you named it? Do you name an Emmy?
No.
It does sleep with you. What do you call it when you... No, I'm kidding.
No, it was... Yeah, I don't even know where to put it. It's just kind of one of those things where you're like, well, okay.
But whenever you come over, she's like, oh, my Emmy again in the way. Excuse me. Were you going to sit there?
Dust it off a little bit.
It's actually in the bathroom.
I think it is in the bathroom. Yes.
That's amazing.
No, yeah.
And how long did you do that?
For a while. It was a long time. It was a lot of fun, though. I had worked on several shows that you may have heard of. I don't know, I'm aging myself now, but the Osbournes with Ozzy Osbourne, Newlyweds with Nick and Jessica, The Carters, that one was on E! A lot of great shows. It was a lot of fun. Oh, and Jessica, we followed her to Baton Rouge.
Oh, yeah,
lived there for 3 months when they were filming with Willie. And so we have a lot of interesting stories, but it's just kind of, I kind of miss it at the same time, but it's definitely a part of my past.
Yeah. Well, if someone's looking for a field producer, though, I'm hearing that there's maybe some space in your life.
Yeah, I mean, I miss it, so I do want to dabble here and there. But right now, we've put all our attention into Clean Juice. So.
Sure. Yeah. Angela, how about you? Where'd you start?
So I am a physician assistant by trade. And so I worked as a family practice provider for about 15 years. And actually, I worked with Aaron's lovely wife, Carrie, for a long time. And that's kind of how I got interested in Clean Juice and health and nutrition. It's always been my platform that I've used for all of my patients. I'm more preventative medicine than I am I always like to say I'm healthcare, not disease care, so I like to prevent versus treating, and I feel like a lot of stuff can be prevented through lifestyle, diet, and exercise. And so I was always preaching that to my patients, but at the same time, there were not a lot of options in Lincoln available to them. So it's always been a dream of mine, and Sarah and I were able to get together and make it happen. This last May, I actually took a hiatus from healthcare so I could focus more on Clean Juice, and it's been great. I love it. But I love the fact that I get to do something I'm passionate about, but also incorporate what I went to school for with it, because I feel like they do go hand in hand. So it's been super fun.
Now, you had like tried a lot of different nutrition or like studied a lot of different types of nutritions and cleanses and things like that.
Yeah.
How did that play into finding Clean Juice?
That's a great question. So it's interesting. Sarah and I started researching a lot of different companies out there, kind of a lot of big name ones. We won't say, but a lot of them most people have heard from. And one of the most interesting things is that when we actually got in and started looking at their menu, we were shocked to see how much extra stuff was added that we didn't know about. A lot of extra sweeteners, a lot of preservatives, a lot of their juices were pasteurized. And for Sarah and I, we truly wanted a product that we would eat ourselves. We always laugh because we said the main reason we did it is because we're busy moms and there's so many nights when we're driving our kids around and we don't have time to cook dinner. We want to be able to give them something that we feel good about and also something that we would eat. And so that was a huge starting factor for both of us. Clean Juice was one of, and we interviewed and looked at a lot of different companies. And
I think when you look at, like, I had met some younger kids someday and they were saying, gee, I don't know if you know about that company, but they put a ton of sugar in it. And I'm going, sugar? Why are they adding sugar to this stuff? So once you start looking into it, it's like little things that they feel. If you look at all of our ingredients and all the food that we eat today, everything has added salt and added sugar, and you may not realize it. So sometimes when people come into our shop, they're like, wow, this kind of doesn't like got a big, huge punch, because you're adjusting to this like level of salt and sugar that is so high that it's just crazy that they're adding all that stuff so people want to have it because that's what they crave. But when it comes down to it, you really don't need that. There's natural sweeteners that are so much better for you.
Yeah. And so Clean Juice was one of the first companies that we came upon to where we love their product. It's very transparent. What you see is what you get. We build from the ground up. So if it's not on the board, it's not in there, and you can take anything out that you want. We also love that they were organic. And when you're juicing, which we can get into more later, we feel like that's super important with juicing. We also like that they were a Christian-based company, and everyone we met was wonderful. So those were the big top selling points for us that we decided to go with Clean Juice.
When you started to make adjustments to your diet, you kind of referenced all these additives that are in food across the board, and that we have a palate that's developed even from a very, very young age. How long did it take for you to shift that palate, or what steps did you take to kind of dabble in that shifting of the palate from those additive-based?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of just learning how to read the ingredients on a package. And if you don't know what it means, then maybe you shouldn't be eating it. I mean, when it comes down to it, the less is more. Always look for having less. And for me, it was cutting out certain things that weren't good for my diet, whether it was dairy or this or that, and playing with it. Like do an elimination diet, bring it back in here and there and be like, oh, that dairy. We always laugh about Sarah and her dairy and how it makes me feel and how your body reacts. But once you get it out of your system and you're really good and you stick to it, you start to feel so good, and the inflammation goes down and you can run faster than you've ever run. Like your body is better. It's just
And I think what I do, Erin, what I tell my patients is whenever we're making any dietary change, like Sarah said, I think the key is to go to a more natural diet. And food companies are smart. There is a reason that you want their product, and there's a reason that you crave it, right? So I usually say it takes about 4 to 6 weeks to change your palate. And it's science. Like our taste buds will change and your palate will change. So things that you might not have liked in the beginning, I always tell people don't give up on them. Keep trying them, because once your palate changes and your taste buds change, you might develop a flavor for it. But usually it takes about 4 to 6 weeks for your body to, in a way, detoxify. And it's amazing. The one biggest thing I hear from my patients is, they're like, yeah, fruit smoothies are just okay. But once you get rid of the processed sugar, processed salt, even the preservatives, they add a great flavor that you become addicted to it. But so in the beginning, when you switch to a more natural diet, things like you said, they just don't have that punch. They don't taste as good. They're not sweet enough. After that 4 to 6 mark, people come back and they're like, I cannot believe how sweet blueberries are. I cannot believe how sweet strawberries are. But it's hard because you do have to redevelop that taste, and you have to get rid of the processed stuff so that your body can actually get back to its normal.
They put ingredients in, like the orange chips that will not be named. That was like my go-to when I was younger with the sour cream. And it's addicting. Like you can't just have one. There's stuff in there that is making it addicting. But when you create this new palate, which has happened for me, I used to have dessert after every dinner. And like, where's the dessert? I don't need dessert anymore. I lost my cravings for dessert. I lost my cravings for... No. And you hear people who've done our cleanse that will come in and be like, I don't drink Diet Coke anymore. Like, it's amazing that can happen. So you start craving healthy and you're like, wow, what's happening here? I hate veggies. Like, but I'm loving them now.
The way our bodies are made is we crave what we eat. And I think that's a big misconception.
What we need or what we eat?
What we eat.
Oh, okay.
So like the more crap you eat per se, the more you're gonna want it. And that's like we all go on vacation and we splurge a little bit, and when you get back, it's hard to get back to your regular diet, right? Because you're kind of like, I still want the chips and salsa, and because the more you eat it, the more you crave it. And I always tell my patients, like, I promise you will get there, but the healthier you eat, you will start to crave that. And I know some people are like, there's just no way that's ever going to happen, but it does. So your body, like you just said, you lose the cravings for the processed and the sweet because your body has felt healthy, it knows what it tastes like, and it starts to want it. And so that's what you start to crave.
Yeah, Sarah, you talked a little bit about you started to remove things like milk or things like that. How hard was it to stay dedicated to making that change?
Testing that? My journey with that started with having this like weird dull ache under my rib cage right here, and I'd gone to this doctor, and the general was like, well, you need to go get this scan or this ultrasound and this sort of thing. And then I did that, and they're like, I was like, it's flaring up when I drink that drink you had me drink or whatever. And they're like, well, you need to go straight to a surgeon was the next thing. And I'm like, I'm not removing anything from my body. Can I change my diet? And then I realized that once I took the dairy away, when I had it, I could feel that flare up again. So it was like certain things that even alcohol would set it off. So if I cut those things out, there's really no choice right now for me because it makes me feel better.
Sure. You mentioned you both referenced kind of the cleanse.
Sure.
And there's different kinds of cleanses that you can go through. I remember my uncle, when I was growing up, did this one that was like, it was water and
cayenne,
grape bee, maple syrup, and cayenne pepper and lemon juice.
Yes,
we actually still have that.
I did that before.
We have that, and
Do
it's
you
called
really?
yellow. Yeah, so detox water.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that, Erin.
That
I was
was
just
my
talking,
first cleanse.
Yeah, I was talking to Sam last night, and I said, people do like detox water cleanses. He's like, what do you mean? And I said, well, you'll just drink detox water, and you could do it for like a week at a time. I just read an article on a guy that did it for 21 days, and but it was just funny you brought that up because he's like, what? But detox water is your water, your maple syrup, your cayenne, a little bit of fresh lemon. But that is part of our detox. But I think there are so many different options for cleansing. And even, you can call it cleansing, you can call it detoxifying. And I mean, detoxification routines have been around since the beginning of time. If you read a lot of old literature, with the Egyptians and whatnot, they all talked about detoxification, purging. A lot of religions still use it routinely, right? With different religions where they do fasting. So it's been around forever. And I think, especially in this day and age with a lot of the toxic environment that we're exposed to, cleansing or detoxification is super important to maintain your health.
Okay.
It's much easier to do a cleanse if you follow a pretty healthy diet. So the big question we get, people come in, they've never done a cleanse, they're like, where do I start? And the first thing we talk about is, okay, tell us a little bit about your lifestyle now, because we don't want to scare them away either, and we don't want you to be miserable. And so, there's different levels of cleansing, and we can base it off of kind of your general health. And the nice thing is it's a great way to kind of, if you're looking to make some lifestyle changes, it's a great way to start that. It is not a magic pill. Like, you can't just cleanse once a month and do your normal diet and think that you're going to feel better. It doesn't work that way. I wish. Wouldn't that be awesome? But it's part of a lifestyle change. And I think it's a great way to, one, start that lifestyle change, and then also augment that lifestyle change that you can do throughout it.
And do it when you feel like you need it. I mean, so we have people that come once a week or once a month or just maybe after Labor Day weekend. Like, what did I eat? I was binging on all this stuff that I wouldn't normally eat.
And can we talk about the actual benefits of cleansing? Can I do that real quick? Okay, so this is the spiel I always give our customers. So for clean juice, there's a couple different benefits to cleansing. So, your body uses about 70% of its energy to digest food, especially on the standard American diet. So when you're doing a juice cleanse, everything's liquid. And so you have absorption of everything through your stomach. So your GI tract actually gets a break. So we can take that extra energy and start to detoxify and heal. And anybody that keeps up on any of the new health, I don't want to say fads, but updates per se, they know that our gut is kind of where it's at, right? I mean, it's our immune system. It's called our second brain. So it's super important that our gut health we take care of it. So cleansing gives it a break so it can actually, I would say, clean itself out. And then on top of that, take that extra energy and put it towards doing a lot of the regular maintenance that our bodies can't do, because on the standard American diet, we use so much of our energy just to digest a lot of the processed food that we're eating. The second benefit is on our one-day cleanse, you're consuming approximately 15.5 pounds of organic produce. So you're flooding your body with the vitamins, the minerals, the phytonutrients, and the enzymes that it needs to function. So people always say, well, is it even worth doing a one-day cleanse? I'm like, yeah, you're going to give your GI tract a break for 24 hours. So you're obviously not going to get a lot of that detoxification and healing in 24 hours, but you're going to give it a break for 24 hours, which is beneficial, but you're also going to flood your body with a lot of the nutrition that it's lacking. So those are the big benefits of cleansing. People, I'm sure, have all heard about intermittent fasting.
Sure.
It's a great way to add that in too, because you can drink your juices in a short amount of time. You get the benefit of the intermittent fasting, but you're also overdosing on nutrition on top of that. So you can use it from a lot of different angles.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Angela, I would like you to elaborate on what we are detoxing from our system and where this comes from. It's not just the food we eat, it's the environment and the water and the...
Well, and I think I just read an article where they said now there's like 79,000 toxins and chemicals that we come in contact with routinely. So, you know, this kind of gets controversial in everyone's opinion, but, you know, what we're detoxing from is a lot of the processed chemicals that we eat. You know, especially if you're not organic, pesticides, insecticides.
I suppose also, like 2 tablespoons a day of pesticides if you're not getting organic.
And there's been a lot of studies that have shown the importance of organic with children when they test the pesticide and insecticide levels in their urine. And we can get into more of that if you want. It's a big, deep But also not just stuff you're eating, but also what you're coming into contact with, what you put on your body, what you're breathing in. We have a super advanced world, which is great, but with that comes a lot of other problems that we have to deal with, right? And so people are always like, well, you know, our bodies were meant to detoxify in their own. I was like, they were thousands of years ago, but they've not evolved to handle a lot of the man-made stuff that they come into contact with daily now. And so we have to do different things now to detoxify that. A lot of my patients say, well, my grandpa ate this way and did this, and they lived to they were 100. I'm like, I agree, and I understand that. But the stuff they came in contact with back then was different. They didn't have GMO foods. A lot of the cattle was raised on their back pasture, right? So things are different, and so we have to evolve with that, and we have to recognize that. And that's why I think the health movement is gaining momentum because people are sick of being sick, and there's got to be a reason that with all of our advancements, our health is getting worse.
Sure.
And I think it's because, once again, we're not counteracting a lot of the other stuff that comes along with the advancements.
I think it's a lot to be said about getting to the root of the cause versus just putting a Band-Aid on top of it.
Sure.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
What advice do you give your patients or your clients, your customers, about eating outside of and food selection outside of clean juice? If I don't live on southeast side of Lincoln,
if you want to be healthy, you just have to eat
78th and Pioneers Boulevard.
Yep,
we will take good care of you.
Easy.
I would say, it's. What was the question again?
So I would say, my thing is kind of like what Sarah said earlier, is try to eat real food, okay? So there for a long time, I was of the belief that, hey, everyone needs to be on a whole food plant-based diet. There's a lot of scientific evidence to support that, but I don't, the more research I've done, I don't agree with that 100%. I do believe that we're all different. We all come from a different background, and I love, Weston Price did a lot of studies back in the 60s or maybe even the 50s where he toured the world and he looked at all these different cultures and their health. And so I do believe there is something to be said about, everyone's body probably needs a little bit of a different diet. And you can figure that out a lot by listening to your body. With me, I do better on a plant-based diet. I feel better. I have more energy. I'm more clear-headed. For some people, they might need to have some meat or maybe even some dairy in it. But the key is your meat come from a reputable source? Is it grass-fed, grass-finished, right? Is your organic dairy, are they raising it in a way that it's not full of a lot of extra stuff?
Do your research. There's a lot of studies out there you can find. Nutritionfacts.org is a great site. He does Dr. Greger reads all the studies. Yeah. But for me, it's like the word diet. Don't think of it that way. Like that means taking stuff away it's not good for you. Just give yourself what you need and what's healthy. Don't count, don't weigh, don't.
But I think the difference, what people get confused about is healthy. Because, you go to the grocery store and they say, hey, these chips are fat-free, they're healthy.
Yeah. This is in the health food section,
it's in,
right?
Like Whole Foods. I love Whole Foods, but a lot of their stuff, we can kind of tell ourselves, like, well, they're cookies from Whole Foods. They're healthy.
It's vegan. It's vegetarian. Well, there's a lot of unhealthy vegan stuff.
But I think the key is you start with real food. So if you can't pronounce the ingredients, if you don't know what the ingredients are, you don't eat it. Like an apple is an apple is an apple, right? There's nothing else in it. It's just an apple. So
if you smash it down and make it applesauce, it's been processed.
Still just
if you squeeze it into juice, it's been processed. Preferably you eat that whole apple. applesauce
There's
maybe
no
next,
food
and then
coloring.
apple
We're
juice
not
third.
like natural food
Right.
coloring. Like the colors in our juices are naturally bright because they come from that fruit or vegetable.
Sure.
We're not adding. I can't
So
talk.
kind of like this orange juice.
Yeah,
but
we're not adding
and
orange
it's-
food color.
And it's not orange. It has oranges in it, I would assume.
It does.
Carrots.
Orange, carrot,
Carrots,
pineapple,
orange,
and turmeric.
pineapple, and turmeric.
Look how bright that is. That's beautiful.
And one thing too, Erin, that I always
Eat
tell
the
my
rainbow.
patients, eat how you want to feel. Okay. So when you walk into a grocery store, and even if you don't like fruits or vegetables, when you look at that part of the grocery store, it's bright, it's colorful, it's vibrant. So if you want to feel that way, you eat that. Walk through the middle aisles. There's a lot of artificial colors. They're kind of in your face. There's a lot of brown boxes. If you want to feel
A lot of
more like
marketing,
that,
little
Yeah.
cartoon characters that are placed at a certain level so the kids can see it.
Yeah.
Stay away from that aisle. Don't go through that.
But I think you can really base it on if it looks like how you want to feel, if you want to be bright and vibrant and colorful and energy, you eat that. And I think a lot of times we get ourselves in trouble because especially even as healthcare providers, we always say, everything in moderation. And I don't agree with that because your moderation is different than mine.
Right.
And I think people need a little bit more strict. Like moderation, if you want to do that, maybe like on a holiday or your birthday, that's fine. That's not 3 times a week.
I don't know
It's
if you've
not-
seen me eat. I look tiny, but I eat a lot. And I have to. That's who I am.
Sure.
Like I'm always eating a ton of food. But it's.
Tell me a little bit about the products that you sell in it. So you got the juices. How many types of juices do you have? And then I know that you also started serving some food items as
Yeah.
well. Tell me a little bit about those.
So I'll start with the juices and how about you do the food. Does that sound great?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
So the best thing people like what I love about Clean Juice is it gives me the opportunity to educate a lot on juices because there's juices everywhere now where you go, right? And so people are like, why would I spend more money on Clean Juice when I can
yeah.
go to Whole
I can just
Foods?
pick up
Capri
and
Sun
buy-
is juice, right?
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, exactly. Capri Sun or your orange
Are we
juice or
allowed to
whatnot.
say labels?
That's not true.
I love that.
I can say them if it's competitive. for
I'm
you,
not going to trash
You can say Capri
anybody
Sun.
at all. Just know what you're
It's my
getting
podcast.
into. Look at
Yeah.
the store shelves.
But I think the big thing with our juice is that we make it in-house, it's organic, and we don't pasteurize it. So most juices that you find on the grocery store have been high-pressure pasteurized. So that extends the shelf life about 2 to 4 months, but unfortunately it depletes most of the nutritional value. So our juices we do in-house, they have a very short shelf life of 4, maybe 7 days, but because we don't pasteurize them, you are getting all the nutrition as if you were eating the produce except for the fiber. So that's a huge benefit of why would you do, and it can still be cold pressed and high pressure pasteurized. So that HPP is really what you want to look for and what you want to avoid if you want to make sure you're getting your most bang for your buck. Okay. Because like I said, since we don't pasteurize it, it's raw. You truly are getting the same nutrition as if you're eating
you
the
should
produce
crack it open
minus
and
the
take a
fiber.
sip.
Take a little sip of it.
I've had this.
We
one.
did poison one of them.
That's one of our most popular sellers. Probably the most popular.
I was going to tell everybody that I've done one of the cleanses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. It was difficult.
How many days?
I think I did a 3-day.
Okay.
I think I did
You
a
did.
3-day.
Yeah, you did a
and
great
the juices are delicious except for the green one that has mint in it. That wasn't my
The
favorite.
sweet green.
Yeah. Everybody has a different
But
taste.
my wife loves that one.
Yeah.
But
I don't love that one either.
The
It's not
red,
It's funny. I like that one, but
the red, the orange, and the white. The white's like drinking, cinnamon toast crunch milk. So.
At the very
That's what everyone
end of the
says.
bowl.
But there's no sugar in it. It's amazing.
No, I mean that's
All
that's
natural,
the cool thing
maple.
about it is it really shows people how
It
sweet
can taste good.
you can make
Healthy
stuff
can taste
naturally.
good. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So we also offer countertop juices. So those are our cold press. It's a really intensive process. Sarah has posted some awesome videos.
The
so
machine costs about as much as a car. So.
Yeah, the machine, cold press machine, literally costs probably more than most
And
cars.
it has its own shower. We bathe it regularly.
We do,
Give it
'cause it's huge.
massages.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of work that goes into cold pressing. We also offer countertop juices, and those are great because you can come in and you can customize them. But we use a centrifugal juicer. So anytime you go anywhere that has a countertop juicer, just know that you need to drink that juice within 30 minutes to get the full nutritional value because it juices really fast and heat is created, so everything starts to break down. So whenever we serve that to our guests, we just say, hey, please consume this within 30 minutes to get the full nutritional
Now,
value.
is that you said it's you called it a centrifugal?
centrifugal juicer.
Is that like a champion juicer?
Some of the
Similar?
champion ones are, and some are
There's
actually
heat
masticating
involved.
Okay.
juicers. So there's different
Okay.
kinds. Like you can get some at home at-home ones that are more masticating, and those are different.
Again,
than,
my uncle told me about he had a Champion juicer, and that's the only reason
those
I know
are
what
like
that
back
even
in the
is.
day.
Yeah.
Those were
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I would say most of your at-home juicers are usually centrifugal because they're super fast, they're easy, and they're a little bit cheaper. My stomach's totally
I
growling.
thought that was my stomach. I was like,
I did just drink that yellow really fast before I came in.
I did eat something.
I was thinking about food. Now I'm like, I'm starving.
Tommy's talking over
I
there.
was like, I just wanted to give
cleansing?
its 2 cents. I actually am cleansing.
Are you really?
Yeah. So Sam and
On the
I.
detox water?
No, I'm actually doing our regular juice cleanse, and so
I think the biggest challenge for people has been with the juice cleanses. They're like, well, I want to put something in my mouth, whether it's just something to feel like something to chew on.
and that goes away. I
It goes
promise you.
away, and you drink water in between. And most people, we rarely have anybody. My husband did get a little cranky.
And people do. They get really
Yeah.
cranky, especially if you're doing a 3 to 5 day.
It's like, that's it, you're out of the house.
Well, and I warn them, like if someone comes in we're going to take a side tour here. If someone comes in for a 5-day cleanse, I say the first 2 days you feel great. 3 and 4, you're usually really angry,
Yeah.
and that's when they come back to get their second pickup. So they're usually not very nice. And then I said, when we see you back for your 5th day, you're going to be really nice and happy.
Yeah.
And reason being is you kind of hit that detox stage, so your body starts dumping a lot of that gunk into your body, so you can
And
feel a
that's
little
normal, yeah.
lightheaded, cranky, irritated,
Why am I doing
agitated.
this?
Once your body clears that out, then you start to feel almost. I know this sounds funny, but you get towards that euphoria where you're
Yeah.
just like, I feel awesome.
And you want a salad when you're done, which is so like,
Yeah.
you're thinking you're going to go straight back to you're like, no, I want something healthy.
Yeah. Well, I love, and I don't even do Farrell's anymore, but I loved their back in the day, and I don't even know if they still have this nutrition program. But this just tells you like how your body will reset itself. So Farrell's nutrition program 10 years ago, whatever it was when I started, was you eat a certain way and you get one cheat day. Okay. So that cheat day, you could have whatever you want. They're like, you can have a box of donuts, you can have whatever. But the
I know
other
where I'm
6
going.
days, you're super strict in what you eat, and it's,
Right.
it's usually pretty clean and whole food, plant-based type stuff. So what would happen is that first week, the newcomers would go to town on that cheat day, right? Donuts, chocolate, feel kind of crappy the next day, get back on it. Second week, you're kind of like, God, that just doesn't sound as good. But the thing is, in your head, you're still like, I can eat whatever I want, so I'm
Yeah.
not giving it up. By that third week, they're like, yeah, I don't even want it anymore. So it even like it tricks you into thinking like, I'm going to eat whatever I want, but your body naturally has already
It's telling you, no, don't
it's
do
already
that. You're
taken
gonna feel
care
like
of it for you.
garbage.
So
Yeah.
by that third week, they're like, dang it, those donuts don't even sound good. Or maybe just a half one, and they're like, I'm done. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't taste good anymore. But they never felt deprived because in their mind, they're like, I'm just going to save that for my cheat day and eat
Mm-hmm.
it. So naturally, without even them realizing it, their body has made that change and they don't want it anymore. And so
Sure.
it does happen. And a cleanse, like you said, is a great way to kind of jumpstart that really fast.
Okay. So we've got the cold pressed juices,
Cold press, countertop juices.
countertop juices. Any other juices?
Those are our two main. We have some shots, some wellness shots that are super fun. Those are cold pressed. We have a
Immune
wheatgrass.
booster,
Tequila,
elderberry.
vodka.
Yep, that's in the back of
organic
house,
based.
Aaron. That's in the back
We
of
haven't
house.
collabed with
We
the
call
bar
that
yet.
clean
but that
juice
could
after
be-
dark.
That's across the street.
Yeah, clean juice after dark.
Pull out the disco ball.
But organic alcohol.
Right.
It's all organic.
Right.
Yeah, our red beers, our mimosa. Orange is great for a mimosa, actually. We've done that. We've got some great smoothies. Once again, since what you see is what you get at our place, you can build those from the base up. And one thing
Those don't
that-
have ice cream to start or
They-
frozen yogurt?
No.
no
And one
orange
thing that I
sherbet.
love that
What?
Sarah did a great job. She said we had to actually go out and do Clean
we
Juice
trained in
University.
Charlotte
We
for
had to
2
train.
weeks on location in stores making smoothies.
Yeah.
Really?
So Sarah was
Oh, yeah.
looking.
The
She's like,
busiest
"Hey,
stores ever."
where's the orange juice? I need to make this smoothie."
I was making a little drink. It was a juice drink for a smoothie for
No, it was a smoothie.
kid.
And she's like,
and I'm
"Where's the
looking
orange
for the
juice?"
bottle of orange juice. Where's the container? And it's like, what?
They said,
I'm
"Sarah,
pressing juice
you
for a
juice
kid?
that orange to put into that smoothie.
Yeah.
And so that
It's not
was
coming.
when
No containers.
yeah, we like it really opened both of our eyes to like,
like,
this is
wow.
awesome. Like, if it has orange juice in it, we take an orange. If it has apple juice in it, we juice that apple, we pour it into the blender,
Wow.
we build your smoothie.
We make our own cashew milk.
We
Like
do.
It stems back to home too. When you start looking at those containers, once again, all those ingredients. Look online. It's not that hard to make this
The
stuff
cashew milk is
yourself.
amazing,
Yeah.
by the way.
Make your own peanut butter.
It's so good.
Like,
And it's
best
so
one.
easy
you
to
don't
make.
have these preservatives.
Yeah. And so I love the fact that, but that really
That was
like
funny.
that was a great story, and I still
Where's
tell
the-
people that
where's
all
the
the
orange
time.
juice?
She's like, "Where?" And everyone looks at her like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "The orange juice for the smoothie." They're like, you have to juice an orange. She's like, oh, seriously? Like, this is okay.
We don't have any pre-juice.
Where's the shortcut?
She's like, where's the
and
container?
that's the thing about a lot of fast food places is they take shortcuts to save, make more money. We don't do that.
Well, and I'm not,
nobody's bashing
I'm not
anybody
hating
else.
on anybody or
No.
bashing, but I always say, like, hey, if you're gonna have a smoothie with carton orange juice and the concentrate juices, go get yourself a milkshake and enjoy it, because you're getting about the same nutritional value.
You hear that? Angela
Yeah.
said you can have a milkshake, everybody.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you're going to.
And then
That's the part I'm going to edit out.
and
It's
then-
like the news thing that they did. where
And then
everybody
come
was-
cleanse.
Yeah.
But I
Come
mean,
cleanse the
that
next
I think people don't realize is, and it's hard. And this is why it is so hard for
Convenience.
people to
It's
be healthy, is
convenience.
because even when you think you're being healthy, you're like, hey, I'm going to go get a smoothie. Thinking like smoothies are healthy. But if you actually look at the ingredients, you're like, carton orange juice, concentrate juices, unfortunately, froyo, ice cream, that's not healthy. And so a lot of it is not the public's fault. Like they really are trying, but there's so much misinformation and misadvertisement that I think it is hard for people, and we don't know where to start to educate ourselves, because we think like, okay, like we're doing the right thing. Why is it not working?
You know what's been good? I think that support groups are huge, and there's a lot of good groups on Facebook that I follow that kind of keep me in
Smoothies
line.
Anonymous.
Smoothies.
Those kind of support groups, like Forks Over Knives and stuff. So people are telling their story and how they're successful at it, and how and they're sharing recipes. That was the hardest part for me, is these recipes. Like, what am I making? A cheese sauce with beans? What?
Well, and I love that they share their recipes, because then you see people and you're like, okay, if they can do it, I can do it. They don't have a personal trainer. They don't have a chef. They were like me. They work like. Okay, like if they can do it, I can do it, and it truly is one day at a time. But back to our menu.
Yeah.
Sorry, we keep
Sarah's
going
going to tell me about the
Gosh,
food.
I
Yes,
mean,
all right,
it's
let's
our
talk about
our
the food.
show now. We're taking over.
Get out
Do
of
you
here.
want to talk?
Wellness Wednesdays. No, this is the whole point of this is not for me to talk. It's for you two to talk.
All right, and Sarah and I.
Oh, well,
you tell them about our food.
Did we talked about the smoothies?
So we talked about our smoothies.
and we have some great add-ons. There's probably how many add-ons do we have?
Probably like 20 different. We have aptogenics. We have.
What is that?
So an aptogenic is kind of like an
You made
herb
that up.
that I did.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just like saying that
What are you
big
throwing
word.
out big
chips.
words
So an
over there?
aptogenic it's similar to an herb that has a lot of health benefits, like maca. I'm just trying to keep it really simple. Maca, ashwagandha. Those are like a lot of the mushrooms. They're all known as aptogenics, to where they're herbal based or plant based, but they have a lot of good. And I'm just kind of
And they've done a lot of
skirting the
studies
surface of what they are.
on all of these, like what's the one for the inflammation? I'm drawing
Turmeric,
a blank right now.
anti-inflammatory.
So you can look up what all these things have been proven in studies to help people with a lot of
Cinnamon.
stuff.
Just something as
Yeah.
simple as cinnamon. It's great for.
So all those
yeah.
add-ons you can put in any smoothie, any acai bowl, any of your juices. We do have wraps, and we have soups, organic soups that are new this season. And
Which have been a great hit.
What's that?
They've been a great
What's
hit.
your favorite soup?
Oh yeah, they're so good.
What should they come try?
The
What's your favorite
coconut
one?
lentil, which is
That
so
sounds
shocking
amazing.
because
That
like I
sounds
wouldn't
amazing.
normally
So
ever
good.
eat. Which one?
The coconut lentil.
Oh yeah. See, that's just not something I came from a picky background. Like I was a picky eater, and for me, it's like, oh gosh, what am I doing? But I'm loving every bit of
It's so
this.
good.
Yeah.
Our tomato bisque has probably been the most popular, but I'm with
'Cause it's-
Sarah.
it more-
coconut. The
That tomato
coconut
bisque is
lentil's
probably
great.
something people have had something similar to, so
Yeah.
it's
And during the
Yeah.
winter,
Yeah.
and they like to get the cheesy wrap with it, so they're getting their
cheesy
chicken
wrap. You
noodle.
have
Yeah,
cheese?
We have cheese now, and we have chicken now.
Can I get cheese in my smoothie?
If you wanted,
Yeah.
you'd be surprised what people have put in their smoothies.
I don't know.
Chicken.
Yeah.
People like to put hard-boiled egg in their smoothies.
What?
Yeah, we get that a lot.
I'm with Sarah. I
you
I
really?
can't.
Yeah.
Oh.
I thought it was a
Little
mistake,
added-
and I called them. They're like, nope. I was like, you got it.
The little added protein.
I don't think they
What-
can taste it with everything
So
else.
we do
I hope
have
not anyways.
Okay, we do have protein shakes, which
Yeah.
leads me to the next one. And so we either add hemp or whey as our two proteins.
And
Or
what's
a,
the
or a
difference?
boiled egg.
Or boiled
if you
egg. What's the
like.
difference between our hemp and whey?
Oh, one of them's dairy free. So whey is dairy in it. I preferably like the hemp because
But they're
I don't
both
get
organic.
bloated.
Yep, both organic.
Yeah, they're both organic. And then what else am I forgetting? We've got wraps, soups.
The
Got our
bowls.
salads.
The acai bowls are really popular, and this was the one thing that really sucked me in California was
Yeah.
they had these acai places where I'm from all over the place, and people were in lines out the corner, and I'm like, what is this? Oh, it's a healthy, delicious dessert. It's like touted as the world's healthiest breakfast. So my kids love this. What? That's huge. So I started making them at home, and now we can have them all the time. But they're just delicious. Like
They're
What's
great
in something
replacement.
like that?
So our acai bowls are super simple. Like our regular top-selling berry bowl literally just has frozen banana, frozen blueberries, frozen strawberries, acai, a little bit of honey, and that is it.
Yeah.
And it's a
Huge
great
antioxidant.
replacement. Yeah.
The darker the berries, the more antioxidant they are.
And acai has a lot of health benefits. And also, it's a great replacement for like your froyo, and we put any toppings you want. It comes with banana, granola, and goji berries, but people love to put
seeds.
almond butter on it, hemp seeds, chia, pineapple.
Cacao.
My favorite we have is a beach bowl. So it's pineapple and banana base, topped with fresh pineapple,
making me
coconut
hungry,
chips. I'm getting
Angela.
really hungry.
Ooh, you talking about
But we also have a coffee one too, and it's called the Beauty Bowl. So it's made with coffee, bananas, ice, cacao, and almond
And we
butter.
have organic coffee,
Okay.
cashew milk
Cold
latte.
brew.
If you ever compare a cashew milk latte ingredients to what you could pick up at a coffee shop, you'd be shocked what they're pumping into those drinks that you're grabbing in the drive-through.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
keep that in mind as well.
Does Clean Juice have a drive-through?
No, I wish we did.
Coming soon to
Our
West Show.
place we went, they didn't have one.
Yeah.
No. But hopefully the one in West Omaha is going to have a drive-through. That's what we're working on right now, which I think will be. But we do offer curbside pickup, so it's just like a drive-through. You just order online through the app, and when you get there, you call. We bring it out to your car.
Our app is amazing. So if you have not used our app yet, for the first time you use it, you get $5 off. You can also join our Cleanse Club for discounts, so you get like a monthly subscription. And you can order ahead, and you can order delivery. So
And you can
download
order
the
curbside
app.
pickup.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't have to get out your car if you have kids. We bring it out to you, everything.
No, we make it easy.
Do Angela and Sarah deliver? Like,
If
do you?
actually, we have numerous.
did.
We delivered.
Mayday baskets.
It's been super cool. A lot of the sports teams that have come into town have placed catering orders, and so Sarah and I have delivered down.
I saw that there was a volleyball team that just
Maryland
recently-
volleyball, Iowa girls basketball. So it's been super fun. We
Powered
take it down to
by
the
Clean
hotel.
Juice.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
They usually will do a couple days, like breakfast or dinner. So we'll bring it down. One thing that we did forget to mention on our menu is our salads. We call them quinoa bowls because they have quinoa on them.
Okay.
So cool play on words.
And
huh?
Yeah.
hummus.
Yeah, so good. Yep, a lot of different salad options, which are great. You can build your own, or we've got some fun. I know my favorite is the Yummus Bowl.
Yeah.
It's got
I love the
hummus and
Popeye.
dates. Sam gets the Popeye
Popeye's
one
good.
almost every day.
Yeah.
So those are another. So and then we
Green
also have
Goddess.
wraps. And our wraps come in gluten-free or a flatbread option, and we have toast. And our toast comes in gluten-free
Like an
or
avocado
sprouted bread.
toast.
You're making me hungry.
Avocado toast, almond butter toast, protein toast,
gosh.
and hummus toast.
And then that apple pie toast.
Oh yeah, and we'll always have a seasonal menu. So like right now, our seasonal menu, it features a lot of chocolate cherry, and we have an elderberry acai bowl. We have a chocolate cherry smoothie. We've got our soups. We've got some really fun
She's
wellness
really got
lattes.
the menu down.
Yeah, she does.
I
We should
do.
do one of those songs
Yeah.
like Big Mac,
Big
Filet
Mac.
Fish. We just like an icy bowl, thick shot.
You put it together.
I
and
will.
we'll have Erin
I'm
sing
working
it.
on that.
But we have some fun wellness lattes, and I love the ingredients because one that our top seller is called the Red Velvet Latte. It tastes like red velvet cupcakes. But the coolest thing, one of the main ingredients in it is beets.
Really?
That's what makes it red. But it's got
Beets.
some coconut, and it's got a little coconut sugar as the only sweetener, and then it's got some adaptogenics like the different, I think, cordyceps mushroom and I think reishi mushroom. But it tastes, and that's all. And it
Really?
tastes like a red velvet. And then we also have a golden latte, which is turmeric based.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it
it's-
sounds like I could eat pretty well, and it doesn't taste like garbage.
Yeah, you're gonna.
That is so true, Erin.
It's good for your body, and your body's gonna feel good the next day.
Because
Like, you
I
wanna binge
grew
on
up in
acai
I grew
bowls.
up in a community that was vegetarian or vegan. A lot of
because
folks
you're
were.
exactly right.
And
One of the
there were a lot
longest-
of sour faces because it looked like they weren't enjoying life.
Not the people in California that are in the blue zone, Erin.
That's
Guarantee
fair.
they're super happy.
They're living much
Is it
longer
Loma
than the
Linda?
rest
That's
of
because
us.
Loma Linda because they also
Yeah.
have sunshine.
But they also are, like I said, they're featured in the Blue Zone book.
That's
one
true.
of the longest lived people.
I think that's a big misnomer that vegans get a bad rap.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause it's not just the loving people. Like, they're really.
They are. Well,
Yeah.
and it's amazing. Like one thing that Sarah and I talk about a lot, and we get a lot of feedback from our customers, which I love seeing, is that especially in this day and age with everything that's going on, when you start to detox your body physically, the mental comes along.
Oh, yeah.
It comes along. And so it does go hand in hand. There's been a lot of scientific and medical studies that support that.
Attach the
But-
gut-mind
Yeah,
correlation.
but I do love that aspect of it. But that being said, with our menu, Erin, you can eat something different probably every single day because we've got a lot of different options, but you can also build your own. So it's really fun. We have our regulars that come in every day, and they've kind of built their own smoothie where they have I had my favorite smoothie right now. One of our customers came in the other day and said, hey, I was in Kansas City. look at this smoothie, can you recreate it? And I'm like, yeah, and that looks awesome. So I made one myself, and I think I've had one every day for the last week.
You should add that to the
But so, I
menu.
mean, it's fun because you can build it yourself.
Sure.
You can do that through the app. You can do it when you come in. We encourage our juiceristas to build their own and then help customers say, hey, like, add this in with that, and it really takes the flavor
Sweet.
to a different level.
Have you you remember that movie Super Size Me?
Oh, yeah.
Guy ate
yeah.
McDonald's every day for a month or
Yes,
however
he
long it
almost
was.
died, yeah.
Has anybody done a clean juice me yet?
You know what? We have Eddie.
A clean juice
I
me.
hope
So
Eddie doesn't mind that I use his
my
name.
gosh, I
They
wish we
use they
documented
just
that. That
do
was
clean
Eddie
juice.
did
that
like
is a wild
That's all they do.
story.
yeah,
Like
he did like a month-long
I
cleanse.
think
Really?
Wasn't it a month?
headquarters was like, he might need to sign something because if he keeps going. And then there would be days where he didn't show up. It was like 30 days in a row, and we'd be like, did Eddie eat today?
Is Eddie okay? So Eddie Lankus, I hope you don't mind I use your name. You're awesome. One of our best customers.
Yeah,
but
you should have him on
he did
a
like a
testimonial.
month-long cleanse, and he said he felt amazing. He looked great. He lost weight.
Was
He
it just
noticing
juice? Just a juice cleanse?
30-day juice cleanse. He'd
just
pick
juice
up
and
weekly,
water.
and we'd see him like every 2 to 3 days because we do, since our juices have a very
But
short
do you remember
shelf
in the
life.
beginning how cranky he was? And then
In the
like,
beginning
it got
and then
later
towards the
later,
end, he
he
was
would just like, I'm noticing things in nature I've never noticed before.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh,
It's
what's
like
like,
how
Hallucination.
yeah, well, he just,
Yeah, but I wish we would have documented it
I
because, like
really
you
do,
said,
yeah.
it was kind of the cranky to the
he was like a different person. I mean.
euphoric to he's like, and I mean, and it is crazy, but like once you get in that where you're at physically and mentally, and you're just feeling awesome, like. You have a great energy. Like you don't need coffee. You wake up and like Sam thinks I'm crazy
Well,
sometimes
it's all
because I'm like,
connected. What, eat, move, rest, like our friends
Yeah.
Aaron and Dusty.
Yeah,
It's
but I was
really
like-
important that you do all these three things for your body, and you build it.
well,
it
and I
will
think
come, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, and the big
it's
thing is too
happiness.
is like a lot of us, which I think exercise is super important. It is the main key. But I think what people miss is you can't expect your body to exercise the way you want it to unless you are feeding it what it needs. And
Yeah.
so that's why when people get, they like in the New
can't
Year's, they
outrun a bad
start,
diet.
yeah, like and they start their New Year's resolutions with the gym and they jump off because they're exhausted and their bodies hurt and they're like, how can people maintain this? And I was like, you have to give your body the right fuel.
Yeah,
like
if you put mud in your gas tank, you're not
Exactly.
going to get
Yeah.
anywhere.
We take
I
better
know.
and so
care
that's
of
what
our
we
cars.
talk about it all.
I love
Coach
that.
Emily would love this conversation
Yeah.
because
Well, we
that's
guys
what
better
she
care of
preaches all
our
the time.
cars than we
Yeah.
do our bodies.
I'm
Like you
thinking
would,
about that documentary Game Changers. You seen
Love it.
that?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he goes in there and he's done with doing what's that called when you do the ropes?
Oh, battle ropes.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
doing battle ropes and he's doing it before and he timed himself and then he goes in again and all of a sudden he's like, he just keeps going. He's breaking records. He's doing this
Yeah.
and everyone's looking at him and I'm like, that's how I felt. The one time I ran with like some running group, I was like, wow, Angela, normally in the past I would get a cramp. I'd be like, I can't do this. I can't make it through a class at CrossFit.
Yeah.
Like, and then all of a sudden it was just like, oh my God, I'm kicking butt here and I'm not getting sore and I'm not getting cramps and
And you
I
feel
feel like I want to
good.
do this again. Like, and I'm getting up there, you know?
Yeah, you're doing awesome. But and Sarah, I think, is a huge because, like you said, the fact how much how much more energy
Oh,
you
it's
have.
changed my life. I mean, when I was on dairy, I had to sleep. I had to take a nap every day.
When you also eat a lot of processed food, I wouldn't
Yeah.
blame it all on
wasn't
dairy,
just
but
a-
it
well,
was
I'm going to blame
yeah.
it all on dairy.
It wasn't.
And all my gas and all
Yeah.
this, yeah.
But it was
yeah.
everything, and like even like watching you, you're like,
Yeah.
now you do yoga. You had the
My
running
skin's
group.
cleared up. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, minus Mr.
Oh, that does happen. But I
Don't
think
get that
that's-
side of the-
That is
right.
such an important thing that I think people need to realize. Is I was like, you can't. They get so frustrated with their bodies, and I'm like, what are you doing for your body? Like, are you giving your body what it needs so it can function how it was meant to? It's, a lot of people are like, well, they just must genetically, and I was like, not usually. No, I
Right.
mean, some people do have a little genetic advantage, but a lot of it is if you fuel your body correctly, it is going to function optimally for you. And it's going to be able to do the things you want it to do. You're going to sleep great, which you'll have the energy to work out. If you eat it and if you eat and feed it what it needs, you'll have more energy to work out. So I do think it's all of that together.
Yeah,
You
What's
have
the
to-
quote? Heart disease is not hereditary. The diet is hereditary.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's
Or
just
I
like
mean-
with epigenetics, that's a big study on, yes, we are born with certain genes, but they've proven that it's our lifestyle that turn those genes on and off. And so
You should say that again.
epigenetics. And
Well, I'm
they've-
just saying that the idea that
it is. So they've proven it with studies with identical twins that have the exact same DNA, is that you are born with certain genetic features and certain genes, but your lifestyle is what turns those genes on and off. So, you're not doomed. No matter what your family history is, you can decide whether, we always say, is it genetics or
Is
is
it
it
nature or nurture?
lifestyle? You're
Yeah.
exactly right.
Yeah.
Nature and nurture. Because a lot of times you see the same
Stop the
diseases in the
pattern.
same family because you eat like your mom and dad.
passing down the recipes.
You deal with stress like your mom and dad. you pick up the same, maybe, like smoking or drinking alcohol like your mom and dad. So a lot of it is not genetics, the fact that you took on the same lifestyle habits. So yes, you're going to express the same disease. And so nature, nurture, epigenetics, I think, we are in charge of our destiny, and a lot of it, and we have to take responsibility for our own health. And that is something I think our society has turned away from.
But don't wait until last minute either.
No.
I just feel like I waited till I wasn't feeling good, right? And then I did something about it. Like I'm doing
or in
something
this day and
so
age, we can live a long time. But do you want to live a good quality of life, or do you want to live uncomfortable and on a lot of medications? And we have that choice. And I think that's the main thing with giving. And your body is your temple, so you have to move it and you have to feed it. And
is it ever too late to start?
Never. Never. I love like what Sarah said, a lot of these like How Not to Die, one of my favorite books, a lot of these Forks Over Knives groups and stuff. There is all ages. And they're like, even if you're 70, okay, so great,
oh my God,
change
you should
it.
see these before and after
and
pictures.
live till you're 90 and have 20 great years versus dying at 75 miserable. So that is never too late. Now, there are some situations where you can't reverse everything,
right?
But you will always feel better.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like my mom. She's like, but Sarah, I don't want to live to 100. I'm like,
if you felt good, you would.
But if you felt good, like you could do it comfortably. I mean, what, you know?
Well,
I remember
like,
when you're in, in grade school and they talk about smoking. As soon as you stop smoking, within so many hours, your body already starts to basically regenerate and clean out your lungs. Is it similar type of a scenario? What's that timeline on kind of
so
resetting?
It takes some time.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is the frustrating
And even
part.
alcohol takes 2 weeks to get out of your body too, right?
Well, it mainly just, Sarah and I talk about, and sometimes when we both were changing our lifestyle, you'd get frustrated. But then I'd also remind us, like, hey, we've got 40 plus years of eating and drinking and putting stuff on our bodies. Like, it's not going to go away in 6 months. We felt better, but it's going to take a while for your body to heal and detoxify completely.
But that's not what that commercial told me.
I know, and it's not what your books.
There is no magic
It's not what all your
pill.
special books tell you, right? They'll say like, now, granted, that being said, like the weight loss will come pretty fast, and the mood changes will come pretty fast.
The cravings,
but physical health sometimes takes
bloating.
a little bit longer because you truly have to rebuild your body, and that will happen. You just got to stick with it. And a lot of times you feel so good that you want to stick with it because you're like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe I can feel even better, but you do.
This is probably the first year I didn't go to Krispy Kreme on my birthday.
Oh, you know what? Doing that on your birthday
it's not
one
a bad
time
thing.
is not
I'm kind
the
of
end of the
wishing I
world.
just was on the wrong side of town. I still would have done it.
Yeah.
But it's like I wasn't craving it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It's almost like you didn't miss it even though you knew it was a thing.
Well, and it shows you how much habit and addiction, because it's funny, because people will tell you, like, you said, Sarah, like, I feel like I should want that donut. I always eat a donut on my birthday, and I usually really like it. Why do I not want
I would
it?
eat a whole dozen. Like
Yeah,
I just
but
couldn't. I could not. Like I've always had an insatiable appetite when I'm not in this mindset, and so I would eat so much, but it was the wrong stuff. Like I never felt full.
But and that's another thing too. With a lot of times, I say a lot of us are, we have an excess of calories, but we're nutritionally deficit, right?
Right.
And I think that's where a lot of us run into problems. And so your body needs certain things to function. It needs certain vitamins and minerals and enzymes and phytonutrients. And so when your body needs that, the only way it knows how to get it is through food. So it's going to tell you you're hungry, right?
Right.
It can't say like, hey, Aaron, you need to go eat an orange. It's just going to say, Aaron, you need to eat because I need this. So you can keep eating cheeseburgers and cheeseburgers and cheeseburgers, but you're not giving it the nutrition. So it's going to keep telling you like, you need to take in more because I'm still lacking what I need to function.
So then you eat the fries.
Yeah, and that's the problem where so many people are like, I overeat and I
That's an
still
empty
feel
pit.
hungry or not satisfied. I'm like, because your body is still searching for the basic building blocks that it needs, and you're not giving them to them. So it's not, that's why we can get so many calories in and still not feel like, hey, I'm full or satisfied, because your body is still searching for what it needs nutritionally.
Yeah.
And so it's really looking, it's amazing. I always tell people, like, if you wanted to try to eat 200 calories worth of broccoli, one, you're going to be stuffed. You're not probably going to be able to finish it, but you're also going to feel really satisfied because you just gave your body all the nutrition that it needs.
Yeah.
Versus if you ate 200 calories worth of a candy bar, like, you're not going to feel full. You're not going to feel satisfied. And
You
if
could
you do,
probably
it's
eat
going
a
to be
couple more candy
short-lived.
bars.
Exactly, because you're like, I'm still hungry. I still need
Yeah.
more. And so it's just kind of that more nutritional bang for your caloric buck is what I like to say.
Yeah. So by the time this airs, we'll have probably just wrapped up a challenge that we're doing at Lincoln Nutrition and Fitness,
Awesome.
which is an 800-gram challenge. I don't know if you've heard of this, but it's basically eat 800 grams of fruits or vegetables every day
I love
for
that.
a month.
Wow.
Yeah.
We can help.
And
We
yeah,
can help.
and it's
We can
tough.
help.
It's tough.
Wait, do they have to eat it? Can they drink it too?
Yeah. They're not supposed to drink it,
Yeah.
but there's plenty of stuff there that you could chew,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Or a smoothie.
great.
I mean, like a smoothie has the full.
Yeah,
Yeah.
keep the fiber.
And we can also
so
tell you how
smoothies-
much is in it.
Smoothies are okay, right?
Yeah.
Because you're taking the whole fruit and then you're blending it down, right? So
And we
those
can
are,
tell
those
you
are
like,
acceptable.
hey,
We
you
have
just
the
had one
breakdown
cup
on
of-
our website.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so I know that we've had folks that are like, man, this has been really tough. Either they don't like vegetables or they don't like fruit.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's
Like
really
me.
hard to go from 0 to 50 grams of fruits or vegetables a day to 800. And so
And
we've
how?
we've
Yeah.
talked
So-
about like these small incremental steps. So thinking about people that would maybe be, because I know that if I was listening to this podcast and I know what I had to eat right before I came here, I'm like, I shouldn't have eaten that because now I feel kind of shame because I ate this terrible food. Like,
don't
what
ever
kind
feel
of
shame.
what kind of
don't
what kind of
ever-
suggestions would you give someone? Like three easy steps that they
I'm
would.
going to disagree with you on that drinking doesn't count. Because honestly, the one benefit of juicing, if you juice correctly, if you're doing organic cold pressed juice, is you are getting, like when you drink our green, you are getting pretty much the same nutrition as if you ate a salad minus the fiber. Okay.
Interesting.
And so that is a super easy way, like for me.
But that's not every juice.
No, but that's most of our juices.
Right.
So like they are all fresh juice or vegetables. So the one thing about
And they have
organic
protein in some
cold
of them,
brews,
too.
because you are getting all the nutrition except for the fiber.
Okay.
So for me, in my busy lifestyle, yes, I would love to be able to sit down and have a huge salad for lunch, but I'll be honest with you, it's not doable.
Right.
So I will drink 1 or 2 greens a day because I know I just got my day's worth of greens that I need.
Right.
Same with, the orange. Like, it's got carrots. I drink a lot of just straight carrot juice because that's my thing and I
Yeah.
love it and it's super healthy for you. But sometimes it is easier for me. I can consume 3 pounds of carrots versus if I would sit down and try to eat
That's
that
a lot
many
of carrots to try to chew through.
Exactly. And your jaw's tired
Yeah.
and, it's going to take a lot to get that through. And so it's a really easy way to consume your fruits and vegetables, especially for people who don't like them.
Right.
So they can say, okay, I hate this, but if I have to chug that real fast, I'll do it. Or a smoothie is another great option because you can throw a handful of spinach and a handful of kale. And that's what I do to my kids all the time because they really don't know. They think all smoothies are just really hideously colored. They don't realize they can be pretty pink because they're all just got it green. But it's an easy way to sneak your veggies in there.
In a
Because some
dark
people,
cup.
yeah, and some people just don't
notice the green route.
just doing the cup. But some
Yeah.
people don't like to eat fruits and vegetables.
Right.
So what is an easy way for them to do it? Drink it in a smoothie, drink it in a juice. Because the smoothie you're gonna get the fiber, the juice you're not. But if you're eating, if you're eating 800 grams of some type of produce, you can drink half of that and still get plenty of fiber from the other 400
Right.
grams of produce that you're consuming.
Right.
So it is a really easy way to sneak it in bulk. And that's why smoothies are so awesome because you can throw so much stuff in there to where if you actually were going to sit down and eat that, it would take a lot of time and probably not taste good. But when you blend it all with the fresh fruit, it's an easy way to sneak it in.
Does your body, I know that, chewing is part of the digestive process. So does your body is it still able to absorb as much when I
Yeah.
have it blended up in a smoothie? Like a juice, I would think it would be a lot easier for your body to absorb because your stomach is just.
Yeah, and I'll
able
tell
to-
you how we know that. And we are patients that can't eat, right? I mean, we know that you're getting. So, yes, it is part of the digestion if you have to break down whole food. In essence, this is gross, but this is what I tell people. When you juice, I just chewed your food for you,
Yeah.
okay? So that's all I
You're
do.
welcome.
You're welcome, right?
Mama bird, thank you.
exactly. I just
Minus
birded
the
you,
saliva.
and you don't even know it. But that is the difference. So with juicing, and that's why it's so important that juice is organic. So when you juice, you get absorption of everything through your stomach lining, kind of like alcohol, right?
Right.
And it hits pretty fast. And so when you're juicing, if it's not organic, you're also getting maximal absorption of all the insecticides and pesticides that are on that produce. Now, in a smoothie, you're still getting some absorption of that, but you have the fiber that can bind to a lot of that throughout the GI tract. And so it's important that it's organic, but it's not the end of the world per se if it's not organic. But with juicing, you don't have any fiber, you don't have anything binding it. You're getting maximal absorption, so you need to make sure it's
The
organic.
highest quality.
So
and
yes,
vegetables, yeah.
you
Yeah.
get the same nutritional benefits, if not more, because the other problem with eating a lot of full produce is most of us don't chew it well enough. And so our body doesn't doesn't break it down well enough. And I'm sure we've all seen in our toilet every once in a while some stuff that we've eaten earlier in the day. And so in some people, it's actually better to have a smoothie or a juice because you'll break down. And there's been a lot of studies on different produce and which ones you should cook, which ones you shouldn't, which ones you should chew, which ones are better off your juicing. So there's a lot of information out there. But yes, you are getting just as good as nutrition when you juice. And actually, like, if you want to go back old school, Max Gerson was a physician who came up with an alternative cancer treatment called the Gerson therapy. And his patients drank, I want to say, 10 to 13 juices a day because he said these cancer patients are sick. They need maximum absorption of all the nutrition. Their body's already taxed as it is. And juicing's an easy way. And there's even places that do, like rectal juices to get nutrition into people. And so it's an easy way to get.
Is that a service you offer?
We are not. Did I just say that? I'm going to wet my pants. We are not dirty juice.
I wanted to segment into a special thing we're offering.
We do not offer that.
2020 was tough.
I'd like to open on our new adventure that Sarah and I are doing.
That's in the back alley, and it does not. We'll bring out the Bristol poop chart.
It is half price.
Half price.
Since you're not eating it.
It's in the beta testing.
Since you don't get the taste,
we'll get your GI tract moving for you.
Oh my gosh.
But I think that's such a great question, Aaron. I love that you guys are doing that challenge, and I love that, like, we can talk about, hey, actually juicing and smoothies are just as beneficial,
and we are more than welcome
more.
to come talk to your group about options and how to go about that.
Absolutely.
Because for me, it was no, she's not coming.
She's been uninvited.
Yeah, exactly. But ideas for the
Inappropriate.
recipes.
Party poopers.
That's it. You're out of here. Troublemaker.
I'm curious. I know we've been talking a while.
I know, we'll be here all day.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I do have a question, though.
Have we gotten anything covered that you wanted to?
Yeah, I think
All
we're
of
going to
it
have to edit this, Angela.
I know the rectal thing was the most important part.
I'm leading with that.
What's
That's
this
going to be the
rated?
tagline to the
Rectal
podcast.
juice, ?
That is a good hash. Yeah.
How have your families adjusted? Because it's hard. It's hard to, and everybody who has kids knows it's hard, or has a partner. It's hard sometimes to make that shift, and all of a sudden they're like, "Well, heck, I'm not going to drink that, or I'm not going to eat that way." Like I still
think
want
it's hard when
Pringles,
they
and I
go
still
over to
want-
other people's houses and people feel like they need to push stuff in their face. I'm like, I'm not depriving my child of candy and meat and all this other stuff that I don't eat.
You put it in the juice.
No, they're going to figure it out on their own because I'm leading by example
Right.
and what makes
Yeah.
me feel good. And, whether I was suffering with ailments throughout my life that I've explained to them that they don't want to have to deal with. And I wish I had known at their age what I know now. And
So the same way that you grew up eating candy or cheeseburgers or whatever your family grew up, right? You talk about handing down recipes, but if you lead by example,
I was on
your
the
kids
white
see
diet.
those things.
It was cheese, dairy, milk. I was such a picky eater. I wouldn't.
White bread.
Yeah, white bread, everything. So that was my diet
Cheetos.
growing
You said you're a
up.
big
And you can
Cheeto
only
fan.
imagine what that must have done to my body. I always say to my daughters, I could have been taller, but I mean, I don't know. That's my joke with them. But yeah, no, they'll try new things. And the important thing is to cook with them and just be like, hey, just try it. I'm not going to force you. We always have
Yeah.
something on their plate. But yeah, that's
And
just
I
been the
think
hardest part.
The coolest thing that I have recognized over the 3+5 years that we've done this is kind of like Sarah said, like I don't force it, but the thing in my house is I'm the only one that goes to the grocery store and I'm the only one that cooks. And so even when I was, with a lot of my patients, they'd be like, how do I get my kids? And I said, well, ultimately you're the parent, you're in charge. So if you don't buy it, they don't eat it, right?
Right.
And so I didn't force it on them, but once again, I did the grocery shopping. And so it's amazing how if it's not there, they complain for a while, but they forget. And then now what I've noticed is, so let's say I do buy a bag of chips. It's funny. They get super excited, but then it sits in our pantry. And I'm like, that's interesting. No one's eating the chips that everyone wanted. But I have noticed with our kids is, and my rule is like, hey, when I'm cooking it, this is your option for dinner. If you want to find something else for yourself, you can.
Yeah.
And when they go out to eat whatever you want. Like I try, because I feel like the more I push it, the more they're going to pull away.
Right.
And especially with our older kid, I think this is where I've seen it the most, is that he's an athlete.
Right.
And he will fight me on it because he's a 16-year-old boy.
Yeah.
And so I try to like, hey, you do your own thing. But what I've noticed is
Angela,
that...
is that your phone?
That's not my phone, no. That's totally not my phone.
That is so rude.
So annoying. Is that when I watch him, and I can't say anything because the minute I say it, I'll probably ruin it, but he makes the choices that make him feel better now. And he notices. Like, he'll be like...
He feels better on the court.
Oh, he does. Like, he's like, I need you to bring me this. And I'm like, Oh, or he'll come
we
upstairs
dropped
and be
him
like,
off clean juice on the way here.
for lunch.
Got a wrap at school.
Has a game today.
Yeah.
And especially our youngest, like Grayson, he'll go to a friend's house and he'll come home and say, Mom, I need to eat really healthy. And I'll say, why do you say that? And he's like, because my stomach hurts really bad and I have a headache.
That's true. That's
he
the other thing
recognizes
is
it.
they recognize right away. It's funny you do ask that, but when I would take them to get some normal cupcakes at the market, they're like, "Oh God, there's so much sugar in this." And
But
I'm
they
like,
physically, like Grayson, it's not. He doesn't come to me and say,
No.
I need
Tummy
ibuprofen.
ache.
I have a headache. He'll say, oh, I need to eat this because I had this yesterday. And now, I mean, he, without even me telling him at 9 years old, he understands now, like, that food made me feel like crap.
And to be correct, we're not just feeding them like fruits and vegetables. There are so many amazing recipes out there, like that have opened my eyes to like
and
cashew
we do whole wheat
cheeses
pasta, and we
we
do
have pizza
you know,
and tacos and all these things, but they can be adapted to be made out of different ingredients, whether it's tofu or whatever. It sounds weird, but
beans,
they're so good. And me personally, I love tofu scramble more than I love scrambled eggs, and we have chickens.
Yeah.
So it just depends what your body adjusts to and how it goes over. And then it has the turmeric, which takes away the inflammation. And
But it was our bodies are
process.
meant to eat a certain way, and if you allow children, if you guide them, they're young enough and smart enough that they'll actually listen to their bodies, and so they will know what they should and shouldn't eat. And granted, they're children, like Sarah said, it's a struggle at school, it's a struggle at friends' houses, but
Here comes another
they also,
holiday.
like I said, even watching Sammy when we go out to eat now, it's amazing what he'll order because he knows it's going to make him feel good. And I think
How much of that do you think is subconscious, and how much of that do you think at his age is a conscious decision?
I think a lot of it's subconscious.
Okay.
I think a lot of it. I think, like I said, it's just we quit carrying stuff in the house, and my kids quit asking
I just
for it
emptied
eventually.
out all the processed food. We couldn't believe how much processed food I had in there.
kids
Now we
are
just
lazy.
have jars full of
Yeah.
fun stuff like hemp seeds. You get your protein from that, or they love chia seeds now, and they love.
But it's
all the
they're
stuff that I
lazy.
would
Like
never
they're not
eat
going
at
to go
their
if it's
age.
not there.
Like-
They're not going to go out of their way to find it.
Yeah.
They'll go in the pantry
Make it
and
fun.
and after a while, like
Sweet
I said,
potato
like
brownies are delicious.
yes, the ones I sent you.
Yes,
they're
thank
so
you.
good.
It was so good.
But it's amazing how they just, and then they have new favorite things. Like Grayson loves our acai bowls. He loves our chocolate version of our cashew milk. He, so that's their treats now. And but it's interesting how they will do it on their own. And if you look at other cultures, I mean, like people are like, well, what do you feed your kids? I was like, what do other cultures feed their kids? That don't have supermarkets. Like their kids eat what you eat. And I think that's where we make a huge mistake is we feel like we should have adult food and children food. And that's where we create
that's
that
where you get in a
horrible
bad
habit.
routine. Like, oh, here, you just have the mac and cheese every night, but they're going to do that if you give them that option.
Yeah, but if you don't give them that option, they
Gotta
don't
expand the
know
palate.
any different. And I think too,
What is it,
especially
6 times to actually like something? If you try something, it's about 6 times you'll
I
like
don't know.
it. I think the first time, if you don't like it, if you try it so many more times,
yeah,
you
your taste
actually-
buds will change over
Yeah.
time, so you should always come back. But I do think too, especially in this day and age, we see a lot of young kids with diseases that they've never had before. So something obviously is wrong, and so we need to do everything we can to, give our kids the life that they deserve.
Right.
And and I know, and that once
them
we can go back
options.
to like where I grew up on that, I'm like, yeah, but things are different now,
Right.
and and people like. They don't grasp that. I was like, we all know things are different. So we can't compare ourselves to our grandparents because we are exposed to different things and we have GMO foods and we have a lot of pesticides and insecticides and antibiotics and stuff that our grandparents didn't have. And so we have to adjust to counteract for that. And
prep
it
in
starts with our
advance.
children.
Like, I feel like it's really important to plan it out in advance because, like,
Yeah.
there'll be nights where, like, oh my God, what are we going to make tonight? Oh,
Always have something
There's
easy
not
you
a lot
can
of
make.
places in town that can make our what we like. So
Yeah.
always just try to think in advance of what you're doing.
And I always have like basics, like
Meal prepping.
Mexican food is super easy to make
Yeah.
healthy. Right? I
Yep.
mean, beans and rice, and you can add all the veggies
Baked
you want. You
potato
can
with
make
beans
sweet
and salsa.
potatoes.
That's at least
and,
a once a week occurrence at our house.
Exactly, and same with ours. And it's something I always try to have on hand to where, like you said, Sarah, if I come home last minute, I'm like, okay, I know at least I can make this pretty fast
Right.
for everyone.
Cashew cheese, always have soaked cashews. Just put it in a blender with some water, add a little salsa. That is the best queso in town.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. So there's so
How much
many.
water does it need?
Not that much. We soak it and then take it out.
Soak
maybe a
it.
cup.
Think about the
shake.
consistency of a
As
cheese sauce, a regular
you're
cheese
exactly
sauce that
right.
you
Yeah,
could purchase.
but the
And
perks
nutritional
are,
yeast is what gives it its cheese
If
flavor.
I make my, cashew cheese nachos versus regular nachos, I know the next day at 1 a.m. I'm not going to wake up in the morning like, what did I do? I feel so awful.
Right.
But I feel great.
Yeah. And I think it does start with your children. And like Sarah said, don't just be an example, but, don't force it on them, but create that environment at home. Like, we forget the amount of control we have over our kids. Now, I don't either. I'm like, my kids aren't going to the grocery store. So when parents are like, well, I don't know what to do, I was like, well, I promise you they won't starve. Eventually they'll eat something. Yeah. So if all they have is an apple, and kids, they can go out without food for a while. So if they really want to butt heads with you, but I'm like, if you don't buy it, then yes, they can still have it when it's a special event and they're at a friend's house, but it's not part of their, right now when we buy Pop-Tarts every day, they think that's a normal breakfast.
That's the first thing they'll go to.
Yeah, exactly. Like, another thing is too, like you said, Sarah, if you have it there, they don't expect them. If we as adults can't make good choices, don't expect to have a box of Pop-Tarts and an apple and expect your kid to choose the apple. Absolutely not.
Have a platter of different fruits and veggies already in the fridge with a yummy dip. Just leave it in there. Don't say anything. You don't.
But don't give them that unhealthy option where they're going to make the wrong decision. Like, even as adults, like, there are certain things that I don't keep in the house because I know I will eat them.
Oh, you gotta keep.
And why would I torture myself like that?
Near that.
Yeah, but I mean, why would I torture myself like that? Like, I was like, it is a treat, and if I want to drive to the grocery store and eat it, fine, then it's worth it.
Right.
But I'm not going to keep it in my house and expect myself to be able to say no to it every day. Like, I don't.
And
have
I'm not
going to
hold it against myself if I do have it either. I mean, it's just life.
But I'm going to make me work for it. I'm going to make myself work for it if I want it. I'm not just going to be like, well.
If you're driving to the store to go get it, you've got plenty of times to talk yourself out of it on the way, right?
It's like you want it, right? And then it's worth it, and you'll enjoy it, and you'll enjoy every bite of it. First, if it's in your freezer, you're like, now it's just habit. It's there, and I'm just going to eat it. And so don't set yourself up for failure. And I think that's what a lot of us do. It's like, if you want to quit smoking, then I always tell my patients, give me all your cigarettes. Because if you keep one under your seat, guess what? You're going to find it, and you're going to smoke it.
Do they give you your
Some do. The ones that are really serious do, yep. Mm-hmm. Awesome. The ones that aren't, I'm like, you come back when you're ready. Like, because it's just like food. Like,
you've got to be ready for it. We can't, say, there's friends that will come to us and be like, God, I wish I'd learned this so much sooner. And be like, you're not ready. Like, if they're not ready, you can't go to somebody and say, you need to do it, especially our parents. Like, that's not what they want to hear right now. But they're finally coming around after I've sent them so many research articles.
Give yourself grace. Give others grace. Know that it's not perfect. Know that you're going to make mistakes. Know that it's a lifestyle. You're not changing your diet. You're changing your lifestyle. And so it's a learning curve. And I say, I always compare it to like a new job. That first day you go in, you're super anxious. They're telling you everything. And you're like, there's no way I'm going to be able to remember all this. And a month in, you're like, doing it like clockwork. And so it does take time, and it is a learning curve. So, get as much information as you can, educate yourself, come up with a game plan. Don't just say when people come in for their first cleanse and they say it's to start a lifestyle, I'm like, then what are you going to do afterwards? Because if they tell me I don't know, I'm like, okay, because here's the deal. You do a 5-day and you haven't changed anything in your fridge at home, you're going to go back to your own eating habits, and you just spent a lot of money.
Right.
So come back in when you have your game plan, and we'll do this together. And you'll be like, okay, this is the lifestyle. I clean out my pantry, I clean out my fridge. I'm doing this to jumpstart it, and then I've got these recipes.
Follow the Healthy Feeds on Instagram. Erin and Dusty are great. Eat, Move, Rest.
Eat, Move, Rest is
and
great.
they're also nutritionists that can help people out. That they work with us as well. And I'm sure you have some people that work at CrossFit.
Yep.
I think with the support team, for me, it was hard knowing what vitamins I need on top of what I've decided to eat. So definitely you just can't do this one diet and not know what else you need on the side that you're not getting.
If someone comes in and they say, I want us to do this cleanse, and you ask them, what are you going to do after that? And they're like, I'm not sure. I know I want to do something. Can you point me in a direction?
We say, get out. Go find
run for the.
We have. You can ask.
Come back when you're ready.
Gift card to McDonald's.
Ask my customers how many times I pull out a piece of paper, because I just love. I could talk about this. I'm so passionate about it.
In fact, we're going to make flyers. We will make. Everyone always asks us for all this information. I will put a flyer together. It will be at the store. Come pick up your flyer.
And I have little cheat sheets I give them that have all the books that I like, the websites I like. We have some.
Be on our flyer.
We have some awesome recipe books in our store from Gabrielle Miller,
who played football for Nebraska.
Okay.
He actually has a very interesting story. If you get him on, he's great. He'd be
a great person for you to. We did an interview with him, and he was awesome. But, injured himself as he was the snapper for UNL, and big guy, big family. The coolest thing about his story is he did the research, changed his diet.
So did his entire
family.
Really?
Even the
mom,
farm,
dad,
they were farming
sister,
pigs. Everybody went to farm vegetables, and it's a beautiful story.
It is it gives me goosebumps.
We sell his cookbook over at the shop as well.
But I love I love to educate our customers. So if anybody ever wants any information, they can come in. The hard part is going to be getting away from me.
Yep.
Yes, with her medical background. I'm always
noticing that.
I'm going to go see Angela. She'll help you.
I could talk about it for hours.
I'm going to have to put a disclaimer at the top of this podcast.
This is a whole nother episode.
Listen to this one on 3X so that you can get through it.
Yeah, but I do think, too, like, I'm passionate about it because, one, I believe in it. And believe me, I've seen the other end. I worked in family practice for 15 plus years. Like, I see the other side.
Right.
And I truly believe that, like, we all can live a good quality of life with the energy we want, the health that we want, you know, the ability to do anything physically that we want. But and I don't feel like it's that people are lazy or anything like that. It's that they're confused because there's so much misinformation out there.
So much.
And so I think that's the hardest thing for people is they're like, I feel like I'm doing the right thing, but it's not working.
The package says natural. The package says, fat-free. The package says there's a lot of misinformation out there that gets you sucked in easily.
Right.
Yeah. And so I think it's all about educating yourself and asking others for help. Like, find all the information you can from others. And we are always willing to help guide people.
Yeah.
And it is a no judgment zone. Like we have keto people come in, we're like, that's awesome.
There's
because
no judgment.
if that's what works for you,
they come back
great.
from the neighbor's house and they're like, oh, they're eating. My kid's like, what are they eating over there? I'm like, hey, that's fine. We don't have a problem with that.
Right.
That's just not what we do. And that's
Yeah.
cool.
And we see everyone from the, very hardcore extreme health nuts to, hey, I'm just trying to get started. Where can I start? And those are my favorite because I love educating them and helping them. And giving them hope. I think that's a lot of it is people have yo-yo diet so much that they get to a point they're like, nothing works, so I give up, right? And then when we give up, unfortunately, we kind of go the opposite extreme. Like, I'm going to eat everything I know I'm not supposed to because I'm so frustrated with trying and getting nowhere. And so, it's truly, and once they understand what they've been doing wrong, they're like, oh my gosh, and it really clicks. And so I love seeing that part of it.
Awesome.
Just feeling good and then hearing the response we get from a lot of our customers. And actually, this has been, I had an amazing career before this, but this has been the most rewarding.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's just changed a lot of lives for the better, I believe.
Awesome. Where can we find you on social media or wherever else?
At Clean Juice Lincoln and at Clean Juice Omaha on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter.
7811 Pioneers Boulevard in Lincoln. So that's right on 78th and Pioneers. And then 1308 Jackson. We are right down on 13th and Jackson in the Old Market. And then hopefully to be out west Omaha soon.
Yeah.
And then also lots of great information. Download our app. As Sarah said, you get $5 off the first time you use it. Every time you come in, we'll scan it for points, and you can order ahead through the app. There's also a lot of great information on our Cleanse Club, and we have our full menu on the app so you can look through. And if you have any questions when you come in, we'll be able to guide you.
And we're starting at the beginning of every month. We're going to do a cleanse class.
Oh, yes.
So, if people want,
Plug that in,
it's kind of like a free consult, so it's
Awesome.
a big deal. We got all this going on, but we'll have these good informational, and we'll hopefully
It'll
get
be
some
online.
doctors
So people can
and visitors besides in-house doctor over here.
So we'll do a cleanse. Because I think a lot of thing too with cleansing is people want to do it, but they're nervous and they're scared and they don't know anything about it.
Right.
And so this is a great opportunity. You can, from the comfort of your own home, hop on, find out more about it, feel more comfortable, reach out to us personally if you have any questions, and get started on your first
I'm going to
cleanse
put
journey.
your cell phone numbers on so that
Would
people
you
can
please?
deliver. Right at the bottom.
Text us
They'll be like,
anytime.
Angela, you crazy.
Yeah. In the show notes, there'll be.
Will you tell her to please quit talking?
Oh my gosh, jeez.
Thanks so much for joining the Angela Show.
This happens every time. On the news, I'm always like, get back, Sarah. Back off.
Why did you
Angela
even
did say
come?
before we got started,
Thanks for
I
having
love
me.
being on podcasts.
Because
Thanks for having me.
I should have reworded that. I love talking about clean juice.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
fair.
I don't like being on podcasts, but I love.
But she's passionate, and that's the
Absolutely.
other thing. Is
Talking
we
about
will
clean
scream this
juice.
from the mountaintops if it shows how much we care about and how healthy it's made us.
Well, and
feel.
keep in mind, the reason I'm so passionate about it is because it's changed my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, over the last
Both
4
of us.
years, like, it has changed me physically, emotionally,
The girl never gets sick.
spiritually,
Did you
and
know that?
mentally.
I believe it.
never gets
And I mean, and
sick.
I have so much energy, and I think so clear, and even my, like the other thing too is
the next
the
crew's
mental
coming in.
part,
We
the
gotta-
stress, the anxiety, the being able to deal with stuff. Like, I wouldn't be so passionate about it had I not firsthand seen the results that I've seen with myself.
Yeah.
So I think that's huge.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you both
you're
so
going to
much
join
for
us back
being here.
later because we're not done with her podcast.
Join us on our journey with clean juice.
Yes, love it, Erin. And thank you so much for having us on here. And good luck with like you said, with the people doing the new challenge. If they need any information from us, we would love to.
Absolutely.
And what are you guys doing for the winner of your challenge?
There is no winner. Everybody's a winner. If you eat more fruits or vegetables, if you consume more fruits and vegetables than you did before, you're a winner.
That's awesome. I love that. Well,
should we give
if you
away?
ever come up,
You want to give away?
Yeah, I was gonna say we would love to do a cleanse giveaway on however you think. If you want to just
I'll
maybe
do a drawing.
I was gonna say everyone
Because
that
there's been
do the
folks that have
drawing.
been posting online, and anybody who's posted, I'll just do a little drawing. And
We would love it, and we'll
Awesome.
should we do a cleanse?
Yeah.
Think they'd like that?
Oh yeah, that'd be sweet.
Okay, we'll do a 1-day juice cleanse for
Awesome.
whoever wins
Right.
the drawing.
I gotta go to the bathroom. We gotta go.
I gotta
Wrap
pee
this
too. I gotta
up.
pee too. Let's wrap this
All
up.
right.
Okay.
Thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks again to Angela and Sarah. Check us out. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Do we just wave?
You can subscribe
Don't
on
wave to the wrong
YouTube so you get updates. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody.
Thanks, guys.